What's up, everybody? UFC Fight Night, Ankalaev versus Walker 2. It wrapped up yesterday. I'm a few days behind. I was busy after the card, alright. I had some important business to handle. Anyways, I'm going to be giving my reaction and how I did on my predictions, alright? Because I actually did pretty damn good on my predictions. Let me show you guys my Instagram post. If you guys aren't aware yet, okay, we have a Birdsinthetrap MMA Instagram now. Okay, so do yourself a favor, go over, you see the username right there, drop a follow, okay? Because if I can't get my prediction video out, I'm going to give them on here, and I'm going to be doing all types of stuff on the Instagram, alright? So, with that being said, as you guys can see, I did pretty well on the card. I think I went 8-3, so a positive prediction rate to start the year off. I am going to be keeping track this year of every single fight pick I make, and by the end of the year I'll have a prediction percentage, and every prediction video from here on out I will put my percentage in the video or in the description or both. But I got the main event right, so let's break it down. Let's talk about this card, guys. This was a pretty good card overall. It started off, we were flying through these first few fights. It was a very fun, very knockout card. I don't know what I'm saying, but ton of knockouts. All right, Joshua Van, this guy, I love Joshua Van. All right, I've seen all of his UFC fights so far, and you know he's 3-0 in the UFC. Very fun prospect to look out for. He has looked good in most of his fights, but by far, this performance was his best one yet. His first finish in the UFC, taking on Felipe Bunes, who was making his debut. But Joshua Van looked good, man. Joshua Van, he took that first round off, in my opinion. He lost the first round, but I think he kind of intentionally did that. You know what I mean? But yeah, super fun flyweight to watch out for. Amazing body shots. He is so young, but he strikes so mature, if you know what I mean. He doesn't get in there and rush anything. He looks like he's been in there for a while, and that's only his third fight. 3-0 in the UFC, like I said. I think he's going to be an amazing prospect to look out for, so definitely do keep an eye on Joshua Van. He's likely going to go far in that division. All right, Nicholas Mata versus Tom Nolan. Yeah, this is one I got wrong. This was my first wrong pick of the year. Everyone was picking Tom Nolan, man. I don't want to hear no one saying that, oh, how could you have not picked this fight? Dude, Mota is not that good, all right? Nicholas Mota, obviously his last fight with Trey Ogden was a weird ending because he was about to get submitted, but then he didn't tap, but the ref called it. So it was a no contest. So I'm sure they gave Nicholas Mata this fight thinking, oh, you know what? Tom Nolan just came off the Contender Series. Let's just give him to Mota. Let him get a free win. Mota shut that down. All right, Tom Nolan was not respecting anything coming back at him. And plain and simple, he knocked him out quick. As you see there, 1 minute into the first round. Crazy to see a 5'9" guy get inside on a 6'3" guy, but you know, that's what happens when you rely on your attributes. You don't respect the power coming at you, and especially in your first UFC fight, you get put out. So, Nicholas Mata, congratulations on being the first fight I got wrong this year. And you got it wrong too. All right. I don't want to hear anything else. All right, Weston Wilson versus Gene Silva. Gene Silva's a character. All right, UFC debut. Weston Wilson. Look at this guy. All right, I don't mean no disrespect, but Weston Wilson, we need to get you out of the UFC. All right, he didn't look great in there fucking a few nights ago. Weston Wilson, just there to be hit. Just his guard is like this. This is his guard. Absolutely atrocious. So Gene Silva just went in there and cleaned up shop. Gene Silva, he had a really good performance on the Contender Series, and he had an amazing performance in the UFC. Very fun guy. Kind of stupid. All right, to keep it plain and simple. His interview, it was. I remember sitting there and just being like, "What the fuck am I watching?" But nonetheless, Gene Silva displayed amazing skill, and you know, could be something in the featherweight division. We don't know yet. Let me see. Does it show his age? It's not going to show his age. If Gene Silva's young and he still has time to improve, he's definitely someone to watch out for because he showcased great skills. All right. Farid Basharat versus Taylor Lapilus. This one went just about how I thought. I said grapple fuck decision. I know I never publicly said that on the channel, but a reminder, I got the pick right. And I knew it was going to be a decision. I knew it was going to be grappling. And that was pretty much the story of the fight, man. Farid Basharat, definitely the less entertaining Basharat brother, in my opinion. And I'm ready to see him lose. I'm ready to see him lose, all right? If he loses his next fight, I'm not going to be devastated because I think he's some fun prospect that we got to save and build him up. I don't give a fuck what happens to Basharat. Give him... Who does Farid Basharat fight? Maybe Ricky Simon? Maybe the Ricky Simon matchup is there. Maybe. But yeah, honestly, not much to say about this fight. It went about how I thought. And yeah, let's move on to something actually fun. Okay, Ilia Topuria versus Marcus McGee. Just kidding. Gaston Bolaños versus Marcus McGee. Marcus McGee, you can tell that this guy trains with Sean O'Malley. All right, the way he was throwing, I was like, oh, O'Malley has the same type of shit in his career. And he looked good. He was on fire, all right. He got quite a few knockdowns. I think only one was counted. Right? Yes, only one was counted. But I swear he rocked them all over the place a few times. He looks prehistoric. He looks old as hell. I don't know how old he is, but I know that he's 3-0 in the UFC now. And all finishes, all performance of the night bonuses. I don't know how far he'll go. All right, I don't know how far he'll go, but he is fun to watch, man. If you give him a striker, it's going to be a fun matchup. So shout out to Marcus McGee for really standing out on the prelims and honestly making a pretty good name for himself. People are going to know now. Shit, Marcus McGee, three good performances in a row. Always looks for the finish. Marcus McGee, shout out to you, man. Looking good. All right, and then our prelim headliner. I got this one wrong. Semmelsberger looked completely off. All right, he did not look good in that fight. I don't know what the problem was, or if he was just completely outclassed, but I don't know, man. Maybe you guys will agree or disagree. Let me know. He looked checked out, in my opinion. He didn't look like he was there for a fun scrap. You know what I mean? It looked like he was there for, shit, let's get this over with. Didn't even look like he knew where he was. So, I mean, shout out to Parsons for getting it done, but Semmelsberger didn't look good. And Semmelsberger has to win his next fight at this point. So, that's 3 in a row lost for Semmelsberger. Preston Parsons on the way up. Preston Parsons also didn't amaze me. Alright, I don't know how far he would go in the welterweight division. Pretty good grappling, though. Welterweight is a grapple-heavy division, so maybe we can see something from him in the future. But as of right now, I didn't see anything too crazy. Alright. Here we go, motherfucker. Arlovsky versus Cortez Acosta. I think Arlovsky won this fight. I think Arlovsky clearly won this fight. I think Arlovsky clearly won the second and third round. And I think Acosta is never going to be anything, okay? If you look that shit, Dontel Mays finished Arlovsky. I would pick Cortez Acosta to beat Dontel Mays. Only good guys finish Arlovsky, right? And you have guys like Cortez Acosta, where they beat Arlovsky, but they look like shit doing it, and it was arguably a robbery. 58 to 49 significant strikes. All right, if you're going to give this fight to Cortez Acosta, it's got to be round 1 and 3, but still, I think 3 was Arlovsky. I think Arlovsky won this fight, man. And you're Cortez Acosta. You're fucking you're barely winning this fight. Let me not say losing. You're barely winning this fight. You're out there doing these hip dances, doing these moves with your hand. You're out there taunting. Like, dude, you look horrible. This guy got booed at the Apex. Am I being clear? Waldo Cortez Acosta was booed at the apex. You have to be doing something wrong for that to happen. All right, that is just ridiculous. Let's go round by round. All right, even in the first round. Still, if you want to give that one to Acosta, whatever. Second round, 20-14. All right, 23-21 in round 3. I know that these differences aren't huge, but Arlovsky's winning these rounds. You know what I mean? So, Cortez Acosta, shameful performance. That's the type of performance where we see it, and now we know you will never be anything, because you can't go tit for tat with Arlovsky and expect me to think you're going to be in the top 15. Guys who beat Arlovsky by finish tend to go pretty far, right? Tom Aspinall comes to mind. Marcos Rogerio de Lima comes to mind. Maybe not Dontel Mays. Not Dontel Mays, but still, you guys get my point. Cortez Acosta lost that fight. Awful performance. And yeah, it is what it is. Alright, Bruno Ferreira versus Phil Hawes. I picked Bruno Ferreira to win this fight. This was kind of a pick'em in my opinion, but it just comes down to Phil Hawes' chin. Alright, that is the whole narrative with this fight. Phil Hawes and his chin. And it sucks, man. Phil Hawes, I actually feel really bad for Phil Hawes. There was a point in his career where he looked really good, you know? He has a win over Nasruddin Imavov. And he was on a winning streak, you know what I mean? But it's just, he got cracked once and it hasn't been the same since, alright? He's got a glass chin. He's been finished 3 times in a row now. And yeah, it's a shame, man, to see, you know, you get a guy, imagine you're him, right? You make your UFC debut, you would go on like a 3-fight win streak, 4-fight win streak, things are looking good. Then you get knocked out and you're like, ah, alright. And then you get knocked out again and you're like, ah. And then you get knocked out, and it just keeps going on. It's a shame. It's a shame. I hope he makes decent money, because I don't think he should fight anymore. Unless he gets a complete pillow puncher, which I don't know who that would be at middleweight. If you guys can think of a pillow puncher at middleweight that he should fight, drop it in the comments. And anyways, Bruno Ferreira looked really good. Really good comeback win after his first round TKO loss to Ruziboyev. And yeah, Bruno Ferreira, what can you say? 2 pretty good wins in the UFC. One over Gregory Rodriguez, one over Phil Hawes, both of them KOs. So definitely someone to watch out for. I think the fight IQ still needs some work, but as far as I'm aware, he's a young guy. So I think he's one of those guys that will get better with each fight. So good performance from Bruno Ferreira. As you can see, he got the performance of the night bonus. All right, now Ricky Simon versus Mario Batista. I got this one wrong. I thought Ricky Simon was gonna put that crafty veteran pressure on him, but he did not. Simon did not look amazing. I think that Simon did win the first round. Okay, I can't believe it doesn't count, but I do think that he got a knockdown. And I think that knockdown is what won him the fight. Obviously, he was behind on significant strikes, but he got a takedown and a knockdown. So round 1, Ricky Simon easily, in my opinion. The other 2 rounds, though, can't lie, Mario Batista looked good. I thought Mario Batista was going to lose this fight. I didn't think that highly of Mario Batista, and I still don't know if I do. Okay, I'm not on the train yet. I know he's on a good win streak. But I do think that he clearly lost to Damon Blackshear. And although he clearly won this fight, he did lose a round, in my opinion, which is fine. And I feel like the commentary was hella glazing Batista. I did not see this fight as one-sided as the stats say. But nonetheless, it was a good fight. Would have been the fight of the night if it wasn't for our next fight on here, but nonetheless, Mario Batista looked good. Let's give him a step up in the rankings. I think the Rob Font fight makes sense. Let's do Rob Font in May. Fuck it. Alright, now, moving on to the co-main event of the evening. Jim Miller versus Gabriel Benitez. I picked Jim Miller to get a finish. I thought it was going to be a KO in the second round. Ended up being a submission in the third. I love that Jim Miller always goes for the finish. You know what I mean? He's in the third round. He's up 2 rounds. He could just lay on top, still goes for the finish, and he finds it. So, amazing work from Jim Miller. He's getting older and older, but he's getting manlier and manlier. That strength, he's only getting stronger. His chin's only getting stronger. So, Jim Miller, I mean, what can you say, man? Fucking Jim Miller, he looked good. Get him on UFC 300, like my thumbnail suggests. I think the Bobby Green fight is there, if Bobby Green wants to come back that soon. If not, I don't mind the Pimblett matchup, but I think it is kind of a lose-lose matchup for Pimblett. And if you're not going to do Pimblett, Paul Felder. Actually, I think Paul Felder is the best option. Paul Felder, Jim Miller, UFC 300 prelims. Let's do it, all right? This was a great fight, though. Very fun to watch, and Jim Miller is a fun guy to watch win, just because of how much of a anomaly he is. You know what I mean? The older he gets, the better he is. Jim Miller is in his prime, and he's 40. Are you kidding me? Or maybe he's just not fighting the best guys. It could be that. I don't think Jim Miller is going in the rankings. You know what I mean? I don't think he's going on a title run. Nothing like that. But he can clean up shop at the bottom of that division. And if I'm him, that's what you keep doing. Keep stacking up your money. Because he makes good money. He's been around for a long time. Alright, main event of the evening. I almost wanted to pick Walker just because I thought he could be weird enough. But that is not true. Alright. I really wanted Walker to win this fight. I don't hate Magomed Ankalaev as much as my title would suggest. Which I'll address after this when I get to Ankalaev. But Johnny Walker, just the boxing didn't look great. The boxing didn't look great. I didn't like how he kept trying to throw spinning shit. I didn't like that he... I didn't love how many kicks he was throwing. A lot... not a lot. A good amount of them were landing. So, you know, that wasn't bad. But a lot, you know, for your fight IQ, I just don't want you throwing a ton of flashy kicks at a grappler. You know what I mean? But nonetheless, Johnny Walker gets just clipped in the second round. Wasn't a horrible knockout loss. It was a TKO. One knockdown, one uppercut to the face. Fight's done. People are going to say it's his chin. I think Magomed is just a good boxer, and I think it's light heavyweight. And you can get touched at light heavyweight, and if you get touched, you'll probably fall. And now speaking of touched and fall, Magomed Ankalaev looked really good. I don't know who you give that first round to. It was about even. I honestly think that scoring it live, I think I gave the first round to Walker. But I might be tripping. I don't know for sure. But either way, yeah, Magomed Ankalaev looked really good. Got the win early in the fight. He isn't crazy boring. But guys, this is where I'm going to address my title and my thumbnail here. I have no interest in seeing this guy fight for a belt. I know his fights are pretty good. He's not just some Dagestani wrestler. Alright, he'll keep it on the feet. He gets KOs time to time. Fun fighter. I'll give it to you. I have no interest in seeing him fight for a title. And it's interesting because the same reasons that I have no interest in seeing him fight for a title is like... What am I trying to say here? He doesn't speak English. He doesn't promote himself. Alright, listen. Alex Pereira doesn't speak English, but Alex Pereira is pretty good on social media. You know what I mean? He knows how to make fans care. Magomed Ankalaev, he cannot sell sand to an Arab. You know what I mean? Like, he cannot sell himself. He's not promotable. Not a fun guy to tune into. Oh, what's Magomed Ankalaev up to? Hell no. Just for the sake of this division, I get full well that he could be the champion. I get that he's good. I get that he could have won the Blachowicz fight. I get that he has a chance to beat Alex Pereira. I don't want to see him be champion. Alright? And this isn't me saying I don't believe in him, okay? I'm acknowledging that he's that good. But I don't want to see him become the champion. Too boring for me. Not fight style, but personality-wise, just a fucking tick to deal with. And if he fights Alex Pereira at 300, it is what it is. I will only be okay with that fight if the Jamal Hill matchup is not on the table. If they can do the Hill-Pereira fight, do that fight. If Hill can't make it, alright, let's wheel in Magomed. Shitty Magomed Ankalaev as the fucking headliner of UFC 300. Doesn't that just sound dreadful? Magomed Ankalaev. Okay, not his name, but himself. I said that like his name was the problem. I don't give a fuck about his name. But Ankalaev in the main event of UFC 300? Oh my god. No. No, no, no. So I get that he should be next for the title, but I don't want to see him get a title fight. And if he's so good, give him one more. You know what I mean? But as far as him versus Pereira, the leg kicks are definitely going to be a problem. And assuming that Magomed doesn't keep it standing, because he won't. I know he said he'll keep it standing. I think a few of those leg kicks, he's going to be grappling. It is an interesting fight because you have Ankalaev with underrated boxing, right? And then you have Pereira with underrated grappling defense, okay? Decent takedown defense, not the best takedown defense, but Pereira is really good at not getting damaged on the ground, okay? Blachowicz didn't do shit to him on the ground. Yuri didn't do shit to him on the ground. Alright, those are competent grapplers, whether you want to admit it or not. Sure, they're not Magomed Ankalaev, but it's just interesting because who's going to budge first? If Ankalaev truly doesn't grapple, like he said he would, which would just be like just shooting a gun at your own foot, right? If he really doesn't want to grapple, then Pereira's going to win that fight. Probably, I could see Pereira winning a decision if it's on the feet the entire time, or finding like a later rounds TKO, especially with the leg kicks adding up. But, you know, if Magomed grapples, it does close the distance, and I think if Magomed grapples, he's more likely to win a decision. But it's not like Magomed Ankalaev just goes out there, gets a takedown, and the next thing you know, you're tapping. You know what I mean? You can survive with him on the ground. You know what I mean? And I don't think it's a super dangerous fight for Pereira. So, if that fight is next, so be it. I'll probably pick Pereira. But, yeah, that is my reaction to the UFC Fight Night card. First one of the year. Like I said, predictions went pretty well. 8-3. I'm going to be keeping track from here on out. What is 8-3? I had a Mario Batista picked up. But what is 8 divided by 11? Alright, we've got a 72% prediction rate for the year. Pretty damn good. So, yeah. No, not this. Anyways, guys, let me know your thoughts on this card, what you thought of it. I think it was a pretty good card. Yeah, pretty good card overall. I wish I had at least gotten the Tom Nolan fight right, because that was an embarrassing one to get wrong, but it is what it is. Alright, as always, let me know what video ideas you guys want to see. Follow me on Instagram, Birdsinthetrap MMA, all one word. Leave a follow there, and yeah, let me know what you want to see in the next video. I will see you all in the next one.